Southside Stay is an initiative by a group of people that said, hey, our kids on the South End, let's keep them down here. Let's keep them in Columbus Public Schools. Let's keep them living down here and going to school here.
There's a pretty strong pattern within Columbus City schools, and this is true within most urban districts, where you see a pretty strong neighborhood enrollment, kids going to their local neighborhood school up until about 5th or 6th grade, and then it really starts to dip in middle school. There's kind of a slight uptick again starting in 9th grade, but then it kind of starts to fall off again after that. So one thing we're really trying to address is getting folks to stay with that pathway to develop from, pre-kindergarten all the way through graduation in high school.
We want kids more involved in school than ever before. We want school to be like the source of community. And then when we know, based on the data, when kids continue with a cohort of kids and family members they know, they do better academically. More of those kids graduate on time.
I just think those bonds ultimately make them better adults when they've formed those friendships and those relationships with their peers.
The original focus for Stay was through a partnership that we created with Stewart Elementary. Stewart is kind of unique in that it's a regional alternative, but it is also now partially a neighborhood school. And the relationship that Stay had with a former principal who's no longer there, we were able to work with the district and that principal to carve out space for, I believe it's over 25% of the enrollment now is neighborhood specific. So you're talking about students from Marion Village, German Village, kind of right there around Schiller Park who attend Stewart. That was kind of the initial success I think that Stay had was with that particular school. And while that was great, I think that vision needed to be greater, that focus needed to be broader across the South Side. I think right now the biggest thing that Southside Stay is doing with respect to the curriculum and actually enhancing classroom learning is to create connections across the South Side to help support what's going on at individual neighborhood schools. So we're looking for people who are either already engaged and excited about public schools and just engaging with their neighborhood public school, or folks who are curious about what's happening at those schools and want to learn more. So parents can get involved in the high school in a couple of different ways. Obviously through Columbus City Schools at any building they can become a mentor, a community mentor to work with a high school student on soft skills, job and career training, or just really to hit those books and make sure that their academics are where they need to be. In some of the elementary schools, they have their Reading Buddies program. So you can serve as a reading helper, read one-on-one with a student. That's all in hopes of making sure that they can pass the 3rd grade reading test and make sure that they can move on. Right now, we're doing some work with the district to try to create more opportunities for parent consultants at each school, and our hope is that we can eventually help support efforts to start PTOs or parent engagement organizations of some kind. So supporting those opportunities is always a good way for parents to get involved.
I do it because I'm involved with my children. I mean, I want to see my children succeed, and I want them to have strong relationships with their classmates and their teachers and their principal and everybody else that's around. Parents have got to be involved if you want to have a successful child.
Probably one of the biggest challenges I would say is dissatisfaction with the school district, not feeling like they're connected to the school. We have parents who talk about going into schools and not feeling welcome, or not knowing who to go to, not knowing whether there's a parent consultant they can work with, or there's no PTO at their school. So a big part of that I think is making sure that parents feel more involved.
I could always be more involved. We all could be more involved. I think there's many parents that don't know what's out there. I think it's my job to try to spread the word about Southside Stay. If we don't talk about it, who's ever going to know about it? I'm starting to see, because we've been in the school for now 4 years, the parent involvement has become a little bit stronger.
What I'd like to see in 5 to 10 years down the road is Southside Stay is having some real clear markers along the way. So when a student comes up in Columbus City Schools and they do the K through 6 school, that it's really clear from 6 to 7 where you're going to come with that South High School or another middle school that receives them. And then same thing in 7, 8 to 9, that those years are segued and linked, and so we have some real clear markers, whether those be celebrations or recognition or those kinds of things, and I think Southside Stay can be a part of that.
Me personally, I can't say that I can prove that it works other than I'm still seeing the same kids that I've seen for the last 4 years. They haven't gone anywhere. The parents aren't pulling their kids because they're unhappy with the education that their children are being provided. I think that speaks volume. Again, I'm only here. I'm just one parent in one school. If we keep the kids enrolled here, and I'm seeing them every day, I think it's working.
Probably about 90% of kids still attend neighborhood public schools, whether it's the one in their neighborhood or otherwise. The majority of the kids in your neighborhood are attending a school like that, and if it's good for your student, then we need to make sure that it's good for those students as well. It's not only okay, but it's important to invest the time and to be a good neighbor in supporting other students beyond your own.